This was pretty vulnerable. I think I mentioned this before. One mistake I made was thinking people thought. I thought was people thought at the same level as me. Some people thought at a higher level than me. It's very easy for people to look at us as leaders, but a lot of times the people that we were so leading, they actually had probably better leadership skills than we did. I had to learn was, hey, look, just because they call me a leader doesn't mean I am the leader.
Welcome to the Journey Podcast with Aaron and Jessica Rocamontes, where we share our journey to building a 7-figure network marketing company. This podcast is designed to best record and document our lessons learned and best practices to be able to share our experience so that you can avoid things we did wrong and improve on the things we did right.
Hey, welcome to the Journey Podcast. As you can see, we are in a different scenery, different studio. It is beautiful. What do you think about it, Jessica?
Well, you took my word. It's pretty in here. It's really pretty in here.
Yeah, in fact, if you have not heard of Launchbox in Fort Worth, and if you're nearby or living in Fort Worth, come check this out. In fact, it's 12,000 square foot of amazingness. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a small business owner, if you're a content creator, they have multiple studios that you can help scale your business. So Launchbox Fort Worth, thank you so much they are actually sponsoring this episode, and we really appreciate you guys, and thank you for everything you're doing. So this is going to be a little bit different. In fact, we're going to have a conversation, and we're inviting you on and into our conversation. So we actually posted something on social media, and we want to hear from you. As you know, as you've been following both Jessica and I on our journeys, is we want to show value and provide lessons learned, best practices in our 9 years of building our network marketing business, and also our journey to scaling to a 7-figure business. We want to share that with you. So we asked you guys, give us questions, and we have a ton of questions to get to today. And so I'm sure Jessica is super stoked about it. And
you know my personality. Yes, I'm so stoked about it.
yeah, she loves the camera, and she loves all these things. So,
Yes.
But here's the deal.
I'm learning to love it. So yes.
We learn to get out of our comfort zone so we
Right.
can serve you and share with you our journey.
I really am excited though. So I wanted to say that too.
All right. So here's the first question, and I'll let you take it. Okay.
Okay.
You ready? You don't even know what the question is. It's perfect.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
What is a milestone or achievement that was particularly meaningful for both of you?
Particularly. I can't
Hey,
even
dude,
say
I'm
it
vulnerable.
either.
That's authentic.
Particularly.
You don't
Okay.
need to pass grade school to be in network marketing. All right. It was not a requirement. So
Okay.
what is a milestone or achievement that really stood out to you?
So I think whenever we had first hit our first, I guess, big pin in business, that was really important to me. And I know that we've talked before, and that was important to him as well, just because that was the first time that as a couple, we had grown our business together and doing something. And then it was important to me because I noticed how much our team had collaborated with each other and worked together, and we all fought hard to do it together. And I had never experienced anything like that before. And so that for me was just a pivotal moment in us growing as a team and growing our network marketing business. So
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I remember the day where we had the phone call, and our upline was like, "Hey, today or this month may be the day that we can actually rank advance." And the rank that we're talking about is about 0.001% of all network marketing in our community will ever really reach that level. So it's a big deal. And it was about 2 years and 9 months. So we've been grinding the business, been serving, been doing all the things, and for 2 years, 9 months. And we just knew that it was going to happen. We didn't know when it was going to happen. We didn't know how it was going to happen. But we knew that if we served one more, that it would happen. And so to Jessica's point, in fact, it was actually my mom, if you know anything, my mom is in business with us. And so once we hit that level, we received a gift, and I still have it today. We both still have it.
yeah, it's hanging up on our wall.
And it's a picture, and it's a picture of a tree, and it has the fingerprints of all the people that was in our team at that point to help hit that rank advance, that level, has that fingerprint on that tree. And
It
so,
not all fingerprints, but it's like thumbprints
sure.
or a finger of each person that was a part of our team that is on the tree. And so we still have it. It's hanging up on our wall. It looks really cool, and it's just a great reminder of all the work that we put in that early on and continue to do, but the milestone that we achieved in doing that. So.
And that lesson right there really reminds me as any entrepreneur, you are a farmer. And there are different seasons that you're going to go through. And, you know, the one season people don't like going through is winter. We've had some winter seasons? Have we
Plenty.
had extended winter seasons?
Yes, plenty.
Yes. But we know that, you know, we judge our day not on the harvest, but the seed sown. And so we sow seed and we sow seed. And after 2 years, 9 months, we saw that harvest. We saw our team collaborate, get together for a big mission, a big goal. And honestly, I just remember the emotion. I cried, you cried, we cried, everybody was crying. And I remember thinking, like, we have something amazing, and that's community and that's people. And so, great question. Okay, so here's another one.
Towards me or towards you?
We'll see. We'll see. Let's see.
Okay.
Whoever has the answer immediately, I guess.
Okay.
How do you manage your time between running your business and spending time with your family?
Do you want to answer first?
I would love to answer this. So,
Okay.
how do you manage your time between running your business and spending time with your family? So, one thing I really focus on is not time management. However, it's more priority management. We all have 168 hours a week. We all have 24 hours a week. However, when I look at time, I look at, and you know this, keep me honest, but I have anchor points.
Yes.
In the calendar, we share a calendar,
Yes.
right?
Yes, we do.
Yes. And if I do something or book something, or if you book something, you send me that invite,
Yep.
and I accept it 99% of the time.
Or decline it. Yes.
Or decline it. Or tentative, maybe it. We'll talk about it
Yes.
later.
A maybe.
However, there's anchor points within our calendar that are immovable. So for me, specifically on Sundays, we get together, and this could be a best practice, but for a couple with a family, you know, a total of 5, we get together and we say, okay, these are the most important things in our life, and they are not moved. And then we build around it. And so for me, priority to me is my faith, it is my family, and then it's relationships, and within those relationships, it's business. And so it's very easy for me to make quick, swift decisions because I understand, okay, is this moving me further away or closer away from my priorities? And sometimes those decisions are quick, and I should communicate that to Jessica. Sometimes I got to communicate that after. But I find it to be super important, especially when you're building a network marketing business with a family, and especially when you have children as well. So I have anchor points. So those are a big tip for me. What do you say, Jessica? What do you say?
I say the same thing. I mean, I agree with him as far as prioritization, and what's important to you is what you're going to do most of. And for me, you know, he mentioned faith. That's my first one also. The next one for me is my husband and my kids. And so I just go along my day according to what I need to do the most of that day. And I do prioritize my kids 100%, but on days like this where, you know, we're building our business, our network marketing business, sometimes I do have to leave my kids. And I'll just give you an example of today. My daughter was very upset that I was leaving the home today, and she was just wondering why I couldn't play with her. And I told her, I played with you earlier today, honey. I played with you several times, you know, today. And she just didn't understand why I was leaving. But I just told her, Daddy and I are going to build a future, and we're going to build a future for you and your brother and your youngest brother. And sometimes that means I have to leave. And was she upset? Yes, she was still very
So
upset.
define upset. I didn't get to see it. She was
Oh
pretty
well,
upset, huh?
yeah, she was crying and crying and crying. Well, I sent you
I
that
didn't watch
picture
it. The
anyway.
picture,
But she was very upset, and so sometimes you just have to do what you have to do in the moment and have a conversation about it later. So you are going to have hard times with your kiddos, specifically when you have them. But if you just explain it to them and show them that what you're going to do is going to produce something for their future, I think that's most important. So.
Yeah, and really what you're talking about is demonstrating leadership, you know, demonstrating what you see as valuable. So, off the cuff question, it's my question.
Oh no.
I get to ask questions too. But so you're a mom, right? You're your wife. You have a lot of different responsibilities around the house. How important is your personal health? Like your mental health, your physical health. How important is that to you? And I asked that question just so you know. Obviously, you probably know this. It's because there's a lot of probably moms out there, mompreneurs that are whether they're married, not married, or they have kids or no kids, or I guess if they're a mom, you have kids. Um, there could be, I know for you for a long time, you would serve the family and serve the family and serve the family and think, okay, I'm doing my part by serving the family, but doing an injustice by not actually serving your health, your mental health, your physical health, and take care of you. So how is that important to you now, and what things have you done differently to kind of, help rejuvenate that?
Yeah, so that is definitely important because if you aren't pouring into yourself, you're not going to be able to pour into your family. And I used to definitely push myself so hard to serve, serve, and serve and fit every single need of every single person before myself. And I just found myself really frustrated, upset, probably crying in the corner sometimes or in the closet trying to stay away from the kids. So I'd say it's pretty important, yes. I just set boundaries. And lately, I've been working on waking up a little bit earlier to get that time, but sometimes that just doesn't work out with a 2.5-year-old. They just seem to want to wake up whenever you wake up. They just hear you or something. They just know when you're waking up. But yeah, I just prioritize what I want to do during the day. And then again, like you said, anchor points earlier, I just make sure that if I'm trying to accomplish something, I do it and then let them know, hey, I'm trying to do this because it's important. Because if not, then I'm not going to be a good mommy to them or a good wife to you, essentially. And so, yeah, boundaries. I set boundaries.
Yeah, I know it's really good. So I know we're just having a conversation here, but you demonstrated that a lot, and I'm super proud of you because for me, I don't know if any other dads can relate at all, but you can be at home for like an entire day, and somehow you're still sane, and you have clarity, maybe a little bit of brain fog here and there. And so if you don't know, we have a 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and our daughter is super intuitive, asked all the questions, like all the questions, and our both our sons, we call them basically they're sons of thunder, thunder and lightning, right? So my youngest Ezra, he's a hurricane of joy. So when we walk in the house, we're just like there's joy just everywhere, right? And my oldest, he's been fun. So I'm super proud of you. That's a big improvement, I know, and I think that's really important, right? Another, I think, good question is, and this is simple, I think, for us for sure. In what ways has your journey in network marketing contributed to your personal growth and development? So, I know we both can answer that, but if you got something, why don't you? And you can.
Yeah, so for me, whenever I first started in the network marketing business, it was just being very transparent. I was very much in my own shell. You could say I'm an introvert for sure, but I didn't like talking to anybody. I never looked anybody in the eye. I never wanted to have a conversation. Just wanted to stay to myself and my husband, essentially. I was always in his shadow, always the wife of, never like my name, hey, this is Jessica. It was, hey, this is the wife of Jessica. Or the, the
No,
wife
not me. I
of
meant the
Aaron.
wife.
The wife of Aaron. And so I would say definitely I've had to push myself to get out of my comfort zone for sure. And that just really made me grow a lot because I didn't want to. But essentially, Aaron pushed me
Yes.
out of the nest. But it was a lot of reading. It was a lot of listening to different podcasts, different audios of different people that encouraged me. And so, I mean, that for sure was important.
So I think about a time, right, and we could chat right here for a second. But I thought about a time where we had an opportunity to speak in front of our first like small crowd, and there was maybe 50 people there.
You had to remind me when that was.
Oh, you'll remember.
Okay.
Okay, so it was about 50 people, and I told you one day, I said, hey, you probably want to start learning how to talk in front of people because they're going to be very successful in this business. And what I find is when there's success, we're going to be on bigger stages and bigger stages. And the first time we were called up to kind of
Okay,
share,
yeah.
yeah. share some of our success, we go up there, and I'm out there guns a-blazing, right? Talking about like building the business and doing all the things. And you go up there and, it was a struggle, right?
Yeah, no, I cried. I cried the
Cried.
entire. I
Her-
literally cried the entire
Yeah, your
time.
talk was a cry, and people like came up to you afterwards saying you did a great job. It was awesome. And I'm like, what you talking about? Like nothing. But what happened is you went up there, and that was a foundation to years later. We had an invitation to talk to a crowd of almost 10,000 people in person, right? And so watching that transformation, and just give you that black and white contrast of you went from, like you said, like being a shadow of mine to actually finding your own authenticity, your own self, and your own strength. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
So
it's fun.
I'll share a couple of things for myself. When I think of like personal growth, I believe network marketing definitely was like personal growth on steroids. So I believe one of the skill sets I learned really well because of network marketing in the community is positive mental attitude. And I used to think I had positive mental attitude until you go through something really negative. Then we can figure out, hey, do we really have a positive mental attitude? And so I'll just kind of share a couple of stories. But our son, when he was born, he was actually admitted to the NICU for 21 days immediately. And so that was really tough for me. That was our firstborn. That was a super difficult labor for Jessica. But for us, in terms of like what happened afterwards, and so I had to jump in the ambulance. Jessica didn't know what was going on. It's our first baby. We're going from Southwest Hospital straight to Cook's Children, and all I can think of is it's all going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. And we got through that, and then I know personally we had to figure out, just first time ever being married, first time ever being married with a kid, first time ever being married with 2 kids, first time ever being married with 3 kids, and constant
a
daily
business
struggles.
being added to that as well.
And the business being added to it, and
Right.
responsibilities and leadership. Oh, by the way, working a full-time job on top of that. So being a top performer at the job, being a top performer in the business, and then making sure I'm doing all that. And then you add what's the most important part, which I told you, which is my faith, and spending time with the Lord, and spending time with the thing that's the most important, and not losing yourself in the process. So I would say to be able to do all that, it comes with personal development, leadership and skill development, and prioritizing your time and what's important to you, and things of that such. And so that's definitely what we had to do in those times. So this is a really good question. What are you most grateful for in this journey? I'll let you answer first.
So for me, what I'm most grateful for is definitely, my husband for sure, absolutely. Just because if we weren't working on something together, I do feel like we'd be doing something separate and not as together as we are now, and in unity as we are now. And so definitely grateful for that. But I'm also grateful for, the growth that I've had personally, just because I wouldn't have also had that if it wasn't for the network marketing industry, and then the community that we've had behind us for so long. Those people have definitely helped shape who I am for sure along the way. And so grateful for the community, grateful for my husband, just grateful honestly for what is called the journey along the way. And I know that we're not done yet. I know that there's plenty more to come, but that itself is just special to me. So that's what I'm grateful for.
Awesome. Well, I'm grateful for you too, babe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for all the things.
You're not just saying that because I said that.
No, not at all.
Okay.
But there's a law of reciprocity that does
Yes,
happen in that
yeah.
process. But no, I mean, obviously you've been my number one business partner. Most importantly, you've been my wife, and we've been together since we're 16. So you know everything about me, and for sure for the last 3 years, everything as
Yes.
you know. And so super appreciative of, you made a statement a while ago, but you said, I married you, not your career. And so you've always been behind me in that. No matter how much I push you out of your comfort zone, no matter how much you say, do we have a plan? I'm like, nope, let's just roll with it, right? And that's my personality, but you're amazing. I'm grateful for our kids. I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for the struggles. I believe you have to go through pain to eventually go through positivity. And that's something that we've had to learn too as well of, we have to be able to go through the struggle and learn from that struggle, and so that we can actually live in victory. And we've heard this our entire career, but our greatest struggle will be our greatest victory. And I believe that our marriage is one of our greatest victories. And our marriage isn't defined how much money we make. It's not defined of what the world defines it as, but it's it's us. And so we can be authentically us, which is I'm super grateful for, right?
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the team. I'm grateful for the community. Lots of stories there. I
lot of
remember
friendships.
driving 6 hours one way, 6 hours one way back, and I would drive 6 hours one way just to meet with somebody. And you're like, "What are you doing?"
Yep.
And I'm like, "I'm getting in the car and I'm going to where'd I go? Arkansas,
Yeah.
Northwest Arkansas." And there's somebody out there that wants to learn about the business opportunity, and I'd get there and they wouldn't be there, and I'd get back in the car and I'd drive back, and
Yep.
I'd fill up my car with gasoline and a dream, and come back, and
You go to work.
I go to work. I wouldn't. Yeah. Thankfully, there was an Anytime Fitness across the street. I could take a shower and then go to
Didn't
work.
smell so bad.
They wouldn't smell so bad. And so did all those things. And so I'm grateful for the people in our lives that believe in us and continue to believe in us. And so all the stories, right?
Yep. The fight along the way.
Which is great. Yeah, absolutely. Which is all part of the journey.
Journey.
Okay, so here you go. What's one mistake you made that turned out to be a valuable lesson for building your business?
I'm gonna have to think about that one. You can go first.
So mistakes, I don't know. I say we didn't make mistakes. We just lessons learned.
Okay.
Okay, I would say, I'll tell you one mistake. This is pretty vulnerable. I think I mentioned this before. But one mistake I made was thinking people thought.
Okay.
I'll
Explain
expand
yourself.
on that. Yeah.
Okay.
So one thing I thought was people thought at the same level as me. But also, that's not being negative or positive. Some people thought at a higher level than me. And so for me, I believe that making sure that I had clarity in my message and that I communicated the right things. So I don't know if you remember, but when I was leading we're leading our first team of 3 people, team of 5 people, team of 7 people is, it's very easy for people to look at us as leaders. But a lot of times the people that we were so leading, they actually had probably better leadership skills than we did. And so making sure that, one of the mistakes I had to learn was, hey, look, just because they call me a leader doesn't mean I am the leader. And I had to make sure that they're around actual leaders that can, help them grow at the pace they want to grow. And more importantly, at the outcome they want, because they may want a different outcome than I want. And so making sure we line that up good.
Okay. Yeah. No, as soon as you said that, it made me think of exactly the mistake I made. And that was exactly what you just said, almost to a T anyway. The mistake I made was thinking that everybody had the same goal that I had and wanted to pursue the same thing I wanted to pursue. And so what I would used to do was tell them to do exactly what I did or the exact steps that maybe Aaron did in order to get to where we were, but not necessarily thinking, they might be wanting to do something different or be at a certain different place than where we were at. And so I would say that was definitely a mistake I learned early on, just because everybody does have different goals. Everybody has different circumstances. At the time when we first got in business, we only had 1 kid, and then shortly we had 2.
Shortly thereafter, yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, we had 3.
Yeah,
and so it's learning along the way how to build a business differently in different seasons, and everybody's in a different season. And so I think that's really what I had to learn is everybody's just different and not necessarily wanting to do exactly what you want to do. And that has to be okay. So
that's good stuff. All right. So got a couple more here. Okay. This is a good one. Whoever asked this one, this is a good one. All right. So how have you adapted to changes and trends in the network marketing industry over the past 9 years?
you could answer that one.
Me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll let you answer it.
No, you answer that one.
Okay. All right. So
You've done most of the adapting.
the adapting. So I would say as business, when internet hit, obviously there's trends and there's drivers. And so over the last 9 years, we've built the business using certain strategies. Over the last 3 years, we realized that, hey, you know what? Social media is a big strategy in building your business. We understand that online and digital marketing is a big strategy to building any type of business. And we understand just marketing strategies as a whole. And really focusing on what I think you could agree upon, which is defined as attraction marketing, which is ultimately, attracting your perfect client or your perfect prospect through content creation, something similar like this through a podcast. And we want to be able to connect with people that want to connect with us, as opposed to connecting with people that don't want to connect with us. Makes a lot of sense. And so definitely using social media marketing, and also using online and digital marketing efforts as well, which this is brand new for Jessica, by the way. I've been on social media for many years, and people used to call me the social media queen, even though I'm a dude. But ultimately, well, because I'm pretty savvy on social media. And
You're savvy.
Women are really good on social media, so it's just one of those things. It's kind of weird to know. So if you're listening to this in the car, let me explain. So Jessica is newer to social media, and for those of you out there that are thinking, hey, can I build a business differently using social media? Jessica is a great person to point to, because obviously you had to have the courage to show up on social media and to start learning. And so I've been watching on social media. You've been posting some things. What are you learning right now?
So I am definitely learning a lot, mainly to just put myself out there and make mistakes in order to, figure out what it is that works and what doesn't work. And so I think that's what I'm learning specifically right now, is just to make a big mess, and eventually it'll get better. So I'm basically just going through different, what do you call them, reels and different things on social media. I've always been on social media, but I was one of those people that would just scroll along the way.
You consumed social media, that create.
But I love watching people's pictures, like their videos,
we communicate
and things like
via
that.
reels.
Yeah,
often.
no, absolutely.
We're that couple. In fact, you sent me a reel talking about us communicating in reels.
Right. So I'm just doing a lot of research right now, putting myself out there and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and I'm just going according to that, honestly.
So our strategy for you is very simple, and that is to what a week.
To post one thing a week.
To post one thing a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it sounds simple, but for those of you that are not on social media, you're like, man, it's, I don't know if I'll put my face out there, or I don't know if, how to do that. And so it's so funny because, if you're a content creator, Jessica, you know this about me. She's like, you always have your phone on you. And I'm, it doesn't matter where we're at Brahms, or we're at Andy Custard's, or I'm just like, real quick camera camera picture, and I splice them all together and edit it and all those things. So
he does it very quickly. I can't.
It's a skill you're learning. You'll do it. It's quick. However, I see her now randomly with a camera out or your phone out, and I just giggle and laugh because I'm like, there she is, being that influencer.
I keep a bunch of things in my photo. I guess the photos in my phone.
Yeah.
And then eventually I'll figure out what works best, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but I'm proud of you. Social media, and so obviously you're learning how to post. You're learning you're learning your what you like and how you want to show up. How difficult, and maybe it was simple for you, but I think a lot of people struggle with, like, hey, how can I just be authentic in front of a camera? How can I just be myself without having to feel like I'm being somebody else? Did you struggle with that, or were you able to just be like, hey, I'm just gonna do a post, and whatever happens, happens? Like, how'd you?
Very much so. If I'm going to post something, then either it's going to be really good or it's going to be really bad, and I just have to be okay with it, because eventually, hopefully, it'll be good. And like I said earlier, I'm just okay with making mistakes now. At first, I definitely wasn't.
Right,
I didn't, like you mentioned earlier, I did not want to put myself out there at all. I think just the fear of failure is something that a lot of people go through. And that was something that was very big for me, but you won't learn unless you fail at least once or twice or maybe 20 times. And so, just getting that in my head that nothing's going to be perfect. So
my favorite thing was when you're cutting a video like 15 times, and I'm like, just post it, just post it. Somebody will,
I still have a little bit of the perfectionist mindset for sure.
Absolutely. Which, I appreciate part of that too as well. Mm-hmm. And so obviously we started a podcast. We started a YouTube channel. We have our own Instagram for personal branding. Mm-hmm. We have our own Facebook. And then we also have other things in the works too as well. In fact, you can, here in the next couple of days or so, we put together a digital network marketing masterclass. That's 3 days, and it's really for network marketers that want to build it differently, don't know how, don't know where to get the information. We put 9 years of experience plus mixed experience of building it with more of a different lens through attraction marketing, and we'll provide that to you in the link below as well. But for us, we just want to provide value to you guys, to network marketing community, and so watching you build on social media has been super fun. Okay, so here's a good one. How do you cope with rejection, and how have you turned it into motivation?
That's for you, honey.
Me? Mm-hmm. Okay, fine, I'll go. So instead of rejection, think redirection. So there's 2 distinctions I would really focus. So, all right, so you live with me, so you know what's up. So when I would get rejected, and when I would go out, and I would build it with kind of old school strategies. I would go meet people like at a grocery store or at a gym, and it would be like, "Hey, how's it going? Good. Like your shirt. Like your shirt. My name's Aaron. Cool." And ask them, ask that person if they're looking for an opportunity, and I come back, feel rejected, and I didn't feel like wanting to go out again. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. And you see me kind of frustrated and just be like, "Oh, I met like 10 people today, or I met 5 people today," but they don't want to they don't want to get in. They don't want to buy a product. They don't want to be a part of the opportunity. Well, one, I believe that I was probably coming from an inauthentic state. I was looking to maybe get somebody in the business versus add value to them. So I had to change that drastically and be people-centric and add value to people. But also what helped me was making the distinction between behavior and identity. Being a reject and somebody rejecting an opportunity is different. And so I know for me, and I know you and I have had a lot of talks about this, but struggling with the distinction of what is a behavior versus an identity. And so I just started to realize I am not a reject. Just people may not want the opportunity that I'm offering. One is probably because I was weird, right? I was being weird. I was stalking people at Target, back in the good old days. But now it's like, hey, I want to come with authenticity, and I know who I am in Christ. I know what I bring, and I'm really wanting to lead with value, right? And so for me, motivation is like I'm motivated. It's actually in the doing. The more I do, the more I'm motivated. So that's kind of my thing. How do you handle rejection? I know. Obviously, rejection can come in different form. Maybe it's when somebody goes prospecting, or maybe you feel rejected at home. I mean, in terms of just overall rejection, what comes to mind?
So whenever I see rejection, I just see it as someone just not wanting to potentially, like you mentioned, take on whatever opportunity that you're giving them. And for me, that's just, I don't feel like and this sounds terrible. I don't really feel like I've had too much of a hard time with that. I've just been very much on the side of, okay, they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it.
Good job, Jessica.
And maybe
give me some of this.
And maybe that's just my personality too, because I'm super what they call phlegmatic. So I'm like laid back and like, okay, whatever. They don't want to do it. That's fine. I don't want to force somebody to do something they don't want to do. And then when you do force someone to do something they don't want to do, it doesn't turn out good for either of you. And so I guess
it's true.
It's more of a struggle trying to force somebody to do something that they don't want to do versus them actually wanting to do something.
I think it's different with our kids, though.
What do you mean?
Like you definitely want to force them to do something.
Well, when it comes to cleaning their room or something, totally. But like when it comes to business in general, yeah. But with my kids, I mean, I felt rejected by my kids before just because when they love to hang out with daddy more, for sure.
When you do all the work and love and
absolutely,
and
but then I realize they see me a whole lot more than they see him. And so,
Well, side note, I will say that if you have a parent or if you're a parent with kids, we definitely do a really good job at edifying one another when the other one's not around. So
yeah.
when Alexa, our daughter comes to us and like, I want to tell you about mommy. I'm like, well, let me tell you about mommy. Mm-hmm. And she's amazing. She's
Yeah.
awesome. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
So
that's definitely important too.
all right. In your opinion, what sets apart someone who achieves remarkable success in network marketing from those who struggle to progress? So I just think of two words, resourcefulness and problem solving. I believe that if you are resourceful and you decide to problem solve and look for a solution, you'll eventually continue down that journey and you'll get to a point where I think you will ultimately achieve the success that you want. And I say that simply because even in this industry and outside in this industry, those are two skills that I believe will serve you the rest of your life. Is if if you need money, you know where to find it. If you need tools for building a business, you'll know where to find it. If you need talent, you know where to find it, and you solve for problems very well. So, any thoughts to that? Not really.
No.
All right. So, let's see here. How do you approach the balance between recruiting new members and supporting existing ones within your network? So there's multiple approaches. Obviously, there's a few modalities when building network marketing business. When we were building it more with offline strategies, I would say community is by far the most important. And so I believe your culture is built around 5 types of tribes. And I know you haven't read this book yet or looked into it, but ultimately the culture is the language and behavior of our organization. So the onboarding process of a new business owner, the health of that new person is really determined by the health of the existing organization. And so think of any type of maybe congregation or business. When somebody shows up and they feel safe, they feel loved, they feel a sense of belonging. They have a specific onboarding for developing skills to be successful. Then I believe that will help the new person. And then obviously the community. What do we do for building that sense of community? I believe in-person community is most effective and most important. And then beyond that, having kind of multiple touch points, whether that's online or offline. And just building authentic bonds. This is me. We talked about this, but building bonds not around the business, but around the relationships. We want to be able to build bonds around, I support you as a person, I enjoy you first, and then the business comes in, not necessarily the business first, and then the friendship second. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, we've talked about it several times. We absolutely love people. We love serving people. And so for us, it's always been about the relationship. So if anything ever happens, people know that we've got their best interests at heart and we're not going to be out to get them or whatever it may be business wise. We've always said when we first started our network marketing business, we want to treat people as family. And that's just always how we've wanted to treat people.
Right.
And so, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so, all right, this is a good one. Have you collaborated with other entrepreneurs or business outside the network marketing industry, and what were the outcomes? So, we have friends outside the network marketing industry.
We have friends outside.
And I would say that I think it's very healthy to have diversity and friendship, especially in different industries, because it gives you insight. So we have friends that we recently got connected with as well, a few set of friends that are not in the network marketing industry, and they provide a lot of good insights and perspectives that we didn't even think about, and so I think it's a very healthy thing. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's important to have somebody that is not in the same industry because sometimes, in my opinion, the perception can be skewed if they're just in business with you and they want what you want essentially. And so they're going to give you advice or perspective based on that versus someone who's not a part of the conversation at all or not in your business at all. They can give you a completely different perspective and maybe see something that you don't see that can help you essentially, like a blind spot maybe that you don't see about yourself or in your business. And so they can give you that different perspective.
Yep. And so here's a good one. This should be, you might cry. We'll see. Maybe not. But what personal sacrifices have you made when serving your team and building your business? Our business. Your business.
I would say the biggest sacrifice that we've made along the way, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is just time with our family. And that always hasn't been true. But, as your kids grow up and they get older, maybe you can miss out on moments here and there that you wish you could have been a part of. But I would say, that has been the biggest one, maybe just time at, different family functions or birthdays or things like that. But that's what I would say for the most part is the biggest sacrifice we've made. We've made sacrifices financially also. But for me, that's not as much as the time with our family that we've missed out on.
Sure. And this is based off our personal perspective and,
Right.
life, right? Everybody has their own journey. However, we want to be, top earners, but to make the big three, right? Which is time, money, impact. We want to make a huge impact. The vision is to impact 1 billion entrepreneurs around the world, indirectly or directly, and really for the kingdom of God, right? For the glory of God. And so we know we're going to have to make some sacrifices and some investments. However, sometimes, you look back and you say, wow, we have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Where did the time go? Because we have 3 hourglasses that we get to watch the sands of time just fall every single day.
And I really feel like most parents can say that, like, where did the time go? But I think when you're building a business specifically, it can be just a little bit different.
Absolutely. And so, when we solved for that problem and we said, okay, what can we do differently so that we can grow the business, do it authentically, alignment to us, and in a way where we can be more present with our kids and have more time with our family. And that's where we found the new way of selling, a new way of network marketing. And that's why we're so passionate about this new way and teaching other people and other fellow network marketers and our team how to build in a way where you can actually have more time, more money, more impact, and do it a little more authentically.
Yeah, and just reach a different generation.
Yeah.
I feel like the newest generation is definitely more social media oriented.
For sure.
I know this just because I'm trying to learn it all, but yeah.
Yeah. You have a nephew too that is definitely showing us social media.
Yes. He's 14, so he's definitely all in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I would say, I think that's pretty much wraps it up. And so, man, guys, last just parting words is, we appreciate you, watching or listening, depending on if you're on the YouTube or podcast. We appreciate you guys. We hope that this brings you value always. And because we believe in the network marketing community, we believe that it's not perfect, but it is better.